Good morning, children. I am back with another presentation. This time we will learn King Lear. This is a tragedy play written by William Shakespeare. Subject is English Literature, Chapter 12, and this presentation is for Class 8. About the author. William Shakespeare was born on 26 April 1564 and he died on 23rd April 1616. Was an English playwright, poet, and actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. Many people believe William Shakespeare is the best British writer of all time. His many works are about life, love, death, revenge, grief, jealousy, murder, magic, and mystery. He wrote the blockbuster plays of his day. Some of his famous plays are Macbeth, Romeo Juliet, and Hamlet. Characters in this play: King Lear, King of Britain; Goneril, Lear's eldest daughter; Regan, Lear's second daughter; Cordelia, Lear's youngest daughter and his favorite; Duke of Albany, nobleman, husband of Goneril; Duke of Cornwall, nobleman, husband of Regan; the Earl of Kent, advisor to Lear. Lear, the old king of Britain, decides to give up his crown. He declares his intention to divide his kingdom equally among his 3 daughters. However, before he allots the portions of the kingdoms to his daughters, he puts his daughters through a test. He asks each daughter to tell him how much she loves him, telling them that what they receive from him will depend on the answers they give. Let us read and find out what the daughters say and how Lear rewards them. This means that the King of Britain decided that he will divide his kingdom among his 3 daughters, and the portion each daughter will get will depend on the answer they will give to Lear when Lear will ask them that how much each daughter loves him. So in this play we are going to learn and see what the daughters reply to Lear's question, and depending on them he will divide the portion of his kingdom and give the portion to his daughters. Act 1, Scene 1. Setting: the court of King Lear. Enter King Lear, Cornwall, Albany, Kent, Goneril, Regan, Cordelia, and attendants. King Lear: give me the map there. Know that we have divided in 3 kingdoms, and it's our fast intent to shake all cares and business from our age, conferring them on younger strengths while we unburthened crawl toward death. Our son of Cornwall, and you, our no less loving son of Albany, we have this hour a constant will to publish our daughters' several towers, that future strife may be prevented now. Tell me, my daughters, interest of territory, cares of state, which of you shall we say doth love us most, that we our largest bounty may extend, where nature doth with merit challenge. Goneril, our eldest born, speak first. This means King Lear says, hand me the map over there. I hereby announce that I have divided my kingdom into 3 parts, which I am handing over to the younger generations so that I can enjoy a little rest and peace of mind in my old age. Cornwall and Albany, my loving son-in-law, I now want to announce publicly that each of my daughters will inherit a part of the kingdom to avoid hostilities after I die. My daughters, since I am about to give my throne and worries that go along with it, tell me which one of you loves me the most, so that I can give my largest gift to the one who deserves it the most. Then he says, Goneril, my eldest daughter, you speak first. Goneril says, as much as child ever loved or father found, I love that makes breath poor and speech unable, beyond all manner of so much I love you. This means Goneril tells Lear that she loves him as much as any daughter loves her father. She says her love for her father is so great that it makes her breathless and unable to speak. This also means that she doesn't have sufficient words to express her love, that how much she loves her father. Cordelia aside, what shall Cordelia do? Love and be silent. This means Cordelia is talking to herself and asking a question to herself, that what I will do now. She says that I can only love and be silent, means be quiet. Lear, of all these bounds, even from this line to this, with plenteous rivers and wide-skirted meads, we make thee lady to thine and Albany's issue. Be this perpetual, what says our second daughter, our dearest Regan, wife to Cornwall, speak. Now Lear says, I give you all this land from this line to this line, dense forest, fertile fields, rivers, wide meadows. He says that this land will belong to you and Albany's children forever. And now what does my second daughter Regan, the wife of Cornwall, has to say? Tell me. Now Regan replies, Sir, I am made of the self-same metal that my sister is, only she comes too short, that I profess myself an enemy to all other joys, which is the most precious square of sense possesses, and find I am alone facilitate in your dear highness's love. This means Regan says, Sir, I am made of the same stuff as my sister is, and consider myself just as good as she is. She describes my feeling of love for you very nicely, but her description falls a little short of the truth. I reject completely any joy and happiness except my love for you, and I find that only your Majesty's love makes me happy. Then Cordelia again speaks to herself, Cordelia aside. Then poor Cordelia, and yet not so, since I am sure my love's more richer than my tongue. Then Cordelia says that my love is more richer than my tongue for my father. It means she says that I don't have flattery words to prove my love. My love is more richer than the words my sisters are speaking about. King Lear, to thee and thine hereditary ever remain this ample third of our fair kingdom, than that conferred on Goneril. Now your joy, Cordelia, what can you say to draw? A third more opulent than your sisters, speak. Now Lear says that you and your children, means the coming generations, will hereby receive this large portion of my kingdom, no smaller in area and value than what I gave to Goneril. Now you, my youngest daughter, my joy, what can you tell me that will make me give you a bigger part of my kingdom than I gave to your sisters? Speak. Now King Lear is asking Cordelia to speak, as we all know that Cordelia is her favorite daughter, so he wants to give a grand part of her kingdom to her. So he asks the same question to Cordelia. Cordelia, nothing, my lord. King Lear, nothing. Cordelia, nothing. King Lear, nothing will come of nothing. Speak again. So King Lear is saying that speak, otherwise you will not get any share of my kingdom. Cordelia, unhappy that I am, I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I love your majesty according to my bond, nor more nor less. Now Cordelia says that I am very unlucky. I don't have the art of making flattery speeches. I cannot put my heart's feeling into words. I love you as much as a daughter loves her father. We share the relationship of a father and daughter. So I love you as much as a daughter loves her father, not more and not less. King Lear, how, Cordelia, mend your speech a little, lest it may mar your fortunes. Now King Lear is saying, okay, mend your speech, modify your speech, and tell me more about your feelings, your love towards me. Otherwise, it will mar your fortunes. Mar means damage or spoil your fortune, means you may not get the inheritance. So speak a little more so that you can enjoy a grand part of my inheritance. Cordelia, you have begot me, bred me, loved me. I return those duties back as are right fit. Now Cordelia says that, my lord, you have brought me up, you have reared me, you have loved me, so it is my duty to return those things to you back in appropriate manner. I will obey you and I will love you. Lear, but goes thy heart with this? So Lear is saying that, but what do you mean? What you are saying? Do you understand what you are saying? What you mean by this? Cordelia, good my lord, yes my lord, I understand completely what I am saying. King Lear, let it be so, thy truth then be thy dower For by the sacred radiance of the sun, the mysteries of Hecate and the night, here I disclaim all my parental care, propinquity, and property of blood, and as a stranger to my heart and me, hold thee from this forever. So this means King Lear says, then that's the way it will be. The truth will be all the inheritance you get, I swear, by the sacred sun, by the mysterious moon, and by all the planets that rule our life, that I disown you now as my daughter. As of now, there are no family ties between us, and I consider you as a stranger to me. So, Lear disowns his daughter and says that from today we are like strangers. We don't share any relation. Because King Lear is disappointed with Cordelia's answer. He declares that Cordelia is no longer his daughter and no longer related to him. He decides that Cordelia will not get any part of his kingdom, and her share will be distributed among her two elder daughters. Now Kent's response. Kent, good my lady, but Kent says, but sir, King Lear says, peace Kent, this means be quiet Kent, come not between the dragon and his wrath. I loved her most, and thought to set my rest on her kind nursery, hence and avoid my sight. So be my grave, my peace, as here I give her father's heart from here. Cornwall and Albany with my two daughters' dower digest the third. Now Kent says that when I am angry, then please don't come between my anger. So Lear is saying to Kent, be quiet. Don't come between me and my anger. I loved Cordelia the most, and I planned to spend my old age in her care in her nursery. And showing her hand to Cordelia, he says, go away from my sight. I don't want to see you. I guess if she does not love her father, and then I will only have peace when I am dead. Now he says that he declares that her share of kingdom will be divided among her two elder son-in-laws, that is Cornwall and Albany. Kent again interrupts and says, Royal Lear. Here Kent wants to say, Lear, that rethink your decision, what decision you are taking. Kent, Royal Lear, whom I have ever honored as my king, as my great patron, though thought in my prayers. Now Kent is saying, I have always honored you as my king, loved you as my father, obeyed you as my master, and thanked you in my prayers. So he's telling Lear that what you are doing, rethink the decision you have taken. He wants to say that your youngest daughter, Cordelia, she loves you from heart. She doesn't have flattery words to express her love. But Kent is very angry and he doesn't want to listen anything. Children, this dialogue of Kent continues from page 174 to 175. So Kent says, let it fall rather, thou the fork invade the region of my heart. Be Kent unmannerly when Lear is mad. What wilt thou do, old man? Thinkest thou that duty shall have dread to speak, when power to flattery bows, to plainness honours bound, when majesty stoops to folly? Reverse thy doom, and in thy best consideration check this hideous rashness. Answer my life, my judgment. Thy youngest daughter does not love thee least. Now Kent says, let your anger fall on me. Whose anger? King Lear's anger fall on me. Even if its sharpness pierces my heart, Kent can speak rudely when Lear goes mad. What are you doing, old man? When powerful kings cave to flatterers, do you think loyal men will be afraid to speak? So he's saying that if King Lear, people like King Lear can fall cave to flatterers, do you think loyal men like me, means like Kent, can be afraid of speaking against the king? When a majestic king starts acting silly, then it is my duty to be blunt. Hold on to your crown and use your better judgment to rethink this rash, hideous decision. On my life, I swear to you that your youngest daughter does not love you the least, means she loves you the most. A loud mouth often points to an empty heart. So this reference is to his two elder daughters, King Lear's two elder daughters. Their tongue is flattery, but their heart is empty of love. So he says, a loud mouth often points to an empty heart. And just because she is white doesn't mean that she is unloving. Then King Lear says, out of my sight. He says, okay, go away from my sight. Kent, see the better Lear, let me still remain the true blank of thine eye. So Lear says, go away from my sight. Then Kent says, okay, King Lear, learn to see better and let me live here so that I can help you in taking good decisions. I think you need my advice. So please allow me to stay here so that I can give you good advice. Page 176. King Lear, O vessel, miscreant, laying his hand on his sword. So King Lear becomes very upset by listening to Kent. He says, you cheat, you miscreant. Miscreant means a person who goes against his kingdom, a person who does wrong things. So he says, you are a miscreant, and he just tries to take out his sword. So at the same time, Albany and Cornwall, his two sons-in-law, they say, dear sir, forbear. Forbear means be patient. Kent, do. Kent also says, yes, you should be patient. Or whilst I can vent clamour from my throat, I will tell thee thou dost evil. So he says, yes, you should be patient. Kent says, you should be patient and you should listen to me. I am very angry with your decision. Vent means to express the feeling of anger. Clamor means shout loudly. So my throat will shout loudly and tell that the decision you have taken is a evil decision, is a wrong decision of not giving any portion of your kingdom to your youngest daughter. King Lear, hear me recreant, since thou hast sought to make us break our vow, which we durst never yet, and with strained pride to come between our sentence and our power, which nor your nature nor our place can bear, to shield thee from diseases of the world, our potency made good, take thy reward. 5 days we do allot thee for provision, and on the 6th to turn thy hated back upon our kingdom. If on the 10th day following thy banished trunk be found in our dominions, the moment is thy death. Away by Jupiter, this shall not be revoked. Now King Lear is very angry and he says to Kent, listen to me, you traitor. You will pay the price for trying to make me go back on my vow. When I made this will to divide the kingdom among my 3 daughters, depending on the question, who loves me the most? So you are trying to revise my decision. I never broke my vow. You are trying to make me break my vow. And you are also trying to revise my judgment on my youngest daughter, disrespecting my power as a king. So he's saying, I cannot tolerate this either as a ruler and as a person. This is your punishment. I am giving you 5 days to gather needs to survive. Then on the 6th day you will leave this kingdom that hates you. So this kingdom and the people of this kingdom doesn't love you because you are going against the decision of your king. If the day after you are found in my kingdom, so you will be killed. Swear by Jupiter, I swear by Jupiter, I will never revoke this punishment. So he's saying that by Jupiter, I swear by Jupiter, this punishment which I have given to you to banish you from my kingdom, I will never revoke this punishment. Then Kent says, fare thee well, king, sit thus doth wilt appear, freedom lives hence and banishment is here. To Cordelia he says, the gods to their dare shelter take thee, maid that justly thinkest and hast most rightly said, to Regan and Goneril, and you large speeches may your deeds approve, that good effects may spring from words of love. So then Kent says, okay, if that is your decision, then farewell to king. If this is your decision, if this is your act, it is clear that freedom has been banished from this kingdom. Means freedom has no space in your kingdom. And he says that okay, freedom will live somewhere else and banishment will live here. To Cordelia he says, I hope the gods will protect you and my dear girl for thinking fairly and speaking correctly. To Goneril and Regan he says, and you too, I hope your actions carry out your grand promises of love so that big words can bring big results. Farewell to all of you. I will carry on my life in a new land. So he says, okay, fine, I am going from here and I will lead my life at a new land, at a new place. Children, now we will see what happens towards the end of the play, King Lear. This explanation starts from page 176 and continues till page 177. After Kent is banished, Lear calls the King of France and the Duke of Burgundy to court. They both want to marry Cordelia, but Burgundy refuses when he hears that Cordelia will not get any part of the kingdom. So, after King Lear banishes Kent, he calls the King of France and the Duke of Burgundy to his court. Both of them are willing to marry Cordelia, but the Duke of Burgundy, when he comes to know that Cordelia is not getting any share of the kingdom, so he refuses to marry Cordelia. The King of France, however, is convinced that Cordelia is a good person and decides to marry her and make her the Queen of France. So the King of France is convinced by the personality of Cordelia and he thinks that Cordelia is a good person who speaks truth. So he marries her and makes her the Queen of France. After Cordelia departs with the King of France, Lear declares that he will spend half the year in Goneril's palace and half in Regan's. So after Cordelia's marriage, King Lear makes a decision that half of the year he will live with his eldest daughter Goneril, and half of the year he will live with his second daughter Regan. So he starts to spend his days at each palace with a group of servants. Kent means the advisor to King Lear, who was banished. He comes back. Kent, disguised as a servant, means dressed as a servant. He also joins Lear. Lear soon realizes that his daughters do not want him. So Kent soon realizes that his two elder daughters, that is Regan and Goneril, they do not love him. He is treated cruelly by both Goneril and Regan. So he is treated badly by both the daughters. He realizes that all the statements they made about loving and respecting him were untrue. So all the statements which they made that they will love him and they love more than their life, all were untrue. Driven mad by his anger and grief, he runs away into the wild, followed by Kent. So Lear, when he comes to know the truth, he becomes very angry and very sad. So he runs away into the forest with Kent. Kent, his advisor, also follows him. Meanwhile, the king of France prepares to invade Lear's kingdom. So invade means to attack. So the king of France prepares to attack King Lear's kingdom, which was ruled by Goneril and Regan. Kent sends a message to Cordelia telling her of Lear's condition. So Kent comes to know about all the truth. So he sends a message to the youngest daughter Cordelia telling about Lear's condition. Cordelia finally finds Lear, who asks her to forgive him for having been cruel. So Cordelia finds her father, and then King Lear asks Cordelia to forgive him for being so cruel. However, Cordelia and Lear are captured when the French armies are defeated. So in the battle, Goneril and Regan's army defeats the French army. After that, Lear and Cordelia are captured. Goneril and Regan gives orders for Lear and Cordelia to be killed. So both the elders' daughters, that is Regan and Goneril, they give order that Kent and Cordelia should be killed. King Lear and Cordelia should be killed. Kent and other manage to rescue Lear. So Kent and the other servants, they somehow manage to rescue Lear, but Cordelia dies. Lear, unable to bear the pain of Cordelia's death, dies at the end of the play. So at the end of the play, Lear was not able to bear the pain of his youngest daughter Cordelia's death. So he also dies at the end of the play. So children, this is how the play King Lear ends, with the death of King Lear. Thank you. Thank you students for watching this presentation. Do the question answers in your copy. This presentation was prepared by Sonu Nanda. Thank you once again.